Hello, Whatnots, Humpty Nuts, and Toronto Maple Cry Babies. It's What Chaos on Thursday, April 25th, U.S. I'm DJ, that's Pete, and that's Sean. Hi, boys.
Hello, David.
Introductions are getting worse. They're getting sleepier, and they're getting worse.
I got worse.
Is that a Trump thing?
Yeah.
I could tell because you went like this.
Like this.
Well, I'll tell you what, Toronto Maple Leafs.
I feel like that's a common misconception. Like, Trump doesn't do this as much. He does a lot of open hand.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean, he does this, too. He does a lot of this.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. He does, but it's a lot. Yeah, a lot of.
He does the Randy Moss. Like,
oh, yeah, that'd be sick. It'd be...
Trump just shows up to his next rally.
If Donald Trump found out about Randy Moss, it would affect his future rallies in a crazy way. He'd be fucking mooning the audience. Wouldn't want to see Donald Trump's butt. Just wouldn't want to see it. Speaking of Randy Moss, happy NFL Draft Day, Sean, to pause.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is.
Why not to me?
Should be wishing it to you.
Yeah.
You're the Patriots fan. We're all Patriots fans here.
It doesn't matter. You're going to end up with a quarterback you're going to hate.
Yeah, that seems... I'm already resigned to the fact that I'm going to dislike the Patriots pick. I really hope it's not J.J. McCarthy, though.
Anyone but J.J. Hashtag anyone but J.J.
I agree. You got Drake May right there.
2021, it was hashtag anyone but Mac. And they were the idiots
and
that
I
took
ended
the
up
bait.
with Mac.
And you end up with Mac. Fucking horrible. Bad pick. J.J. McCarthy is a better prospect than Mac Jones, though. I will give him that.
I listened to some interviews with J.J. McCarthy, and like seems like a really, really well-spoken kid, has a solid head on his shoulders, but like don't get fucking swooned in the pre-draft process by a guy who isn't that good.
And if you're gonna get swooned by anybody, you know who was really cute at the combine? Drake May. Drake May was like bouncy. I was like locked into Jaden Daniels. Then the combine came around, and he was like, "Hey everybody, look at me. I'm just being dumb." And I was like, I fucking like that guy. He's great.
I'm a big Michael Penix guy.
Yeah, so Penix is my pick for the Patriots at the end of the first round.
Oh, I was going to say.
Trade back.
That would be awesome.
Trade with the Chiefs, move up 2 spots from 34 to 32, and take Michael Penix at the end of the first round so then you can have the 5th-year option on him. And do whatever the fuck you want early. I don't mind if they take fucking Joe Alt. I like him. I like Marvin Harrison. I like Rome. I like Malik Neighbors. Take fucking any of those guys. Do not take J.J. McCarthy. And even if you do take Drake May at 3, I'm like, it's not that exciting. But at least you have a quarterback that you can get killed next year.
Yeah, I think Michael Penix at the end of the first round would rock. As a Texas guy, know what Michael Penix can do.
Yeah.
Boy, he carved up the Longhorns.
And it's a very Boston sports fan thing to overreact to one thing someone did against your team and be like,
that guy rocks.
That guy's a player.
That's how I knew about Wes Welker back in the day. He torched the Patriots when he was on the Dolphins, and then they traded for him, and I was like, hey, that guy is awesome.
If Celtics fans became GM, they would be like, Duncan Robinson, that guy's good. That's what you want to build your team around. That guy's a fucking killer. Every team needs a
Duncan Robinson.
What's that?
Every team needs a Duncan Robinson.
I don't know if they do.
You need a motherfucker who could just shoot that hoe.
Jermaine Dye back in the day always used to hit dongs at Fenway. I was like, get Jermaine Dye on the Red Sox right away.
Yeah. Ooh. Jorge Soler. That would be like the greatest Red Sox ever.
We're going to be joined by fellow Bostonian. Cut my penis. We will be joined by fellow Bostonian Katie Nolan in just a couple of minutes. How about that?
I love that. It's been a while since I've talked to Katie, but she is the best.
It's been like 8 hours since I talked to Katie.
Well, I mean, I've talked to Katie, but not like in a podcast forum. It's been a while.
It needs to be on record for it to
since it has been submitted into the public record.
Okay, well, Katie's been watching these Bruins games because she's a Bruins homer, and honestly, I'll say stupid fucking night last night for Boston sports fans because on one hand, the Bruins win, and that's fantastic. On the other, Celtics, who, as I'm watching all these fucking hockey games, I'm hammering these fucking Celtics playoff games too, and they piss away a game against the Heat, and now they're going to do God knows what, and then you have the draft tonight. So we'll cover all of that with Katie. But I think the biggest story in hockey right now is that Brad Marchand has broken the Toronto Maple Leafs.
He's back, baby.
He is back, and I rejected yesterday. I said we cannot say that he needs to, quote unquote, get going, because when you have 3 points in the first 2 games of the series, it just means you're a good player who hasn't gone off. Last night, he went off by pissing off the Leafs a bunch, got Sheldon Keefe to cry after the game. We'll play that at some point. Answered a Tyler Bertuzzi goal really quickly, was all up in Tyler Bertuzzi's brain, fucking with him so much. And the Leafs basically had a meltdown over the fact that Brad Marchand exists. That is Brad Marchand being back. He is such a fucking legend. And if anybody could destroy the Leafs in this series, other than Jake DeBrusk, who does that every time he plays the Maple Leafs, it's Brad Marchand.
So I don't feel like he's broken the Leafs or like turned them into crybabies. Their reaction last night was them trying so hard not to be crybabies, but wanting to be crybabies. I felt like they handled it okay in the face of the public.
Oh,
Like
did they?
They didn't straight up cry. They were like, they kind of seemed resigned that Brad Marchand will do this to them at some point in a series, and that they allowed him to get to them last night.
Okay, well, I'll say that the crying occurs with Sheldon Keefe after the game, which I will say that happens every series. At some point, you need to complain about the officiating in a playoff series. And it's very lame, but it's just what happens. And it's basically like who takes the first shot, which team complains about it first. This happens all the time, where last night it was Sheldon Keefe that said, hey, Brad Marchand is out here getting all these calls. We need basically better officiating here as it relates to Brad Marchand. And tomorrow or after game 4, you'll get Jim Montgomery probably saying something about, I don't know if they were influenced by what the other coach was saying, but I think we didn't get a lot of calls tonight. This happens all the time, and I don't judge teams too harshly for it because it's just a game you have to play. It's almost like selling calls and diving. You have to fucking do it. It's not good behavior, but it is par for the course.
It's gamesmanship. And I mean, if there was ever a night to complain about the officiating, it was last night. And I don't like being the guy. I think it's like such shitty fan behavior to be like, oh, fucking refs. It's everybody can complain about that. It's the easiest card that you can play as a fan. Last night, both fan bases certainly had cause to play that card. The officiating was horrible all the way around for both teams. Like, Austin Matthews gets tackled behind the net, no call. Marchand trips Bertuzzi, no call, leads to the Frederick goal. Like, the officiating was all over the place, and there were makeup calls that were horrible. The McAvoy call after the Marchand trip was awful. That never gets called in a playoff game. So the officiating was absolutely atrocious. Everybody has cause to complain about it. But the Sheldon Keefe thing seemed like he wanted to complain about Marchand so bad, but that at the end he was like, you have to respect it.
I'll have this rant at some point, but I will just say that on your first line, on your second line, Tyler Bertuzzi, John Tavares, with your coach and with your goaltending, all over your lineup, and Morgan Riley's on your team as well, so you know he's going to do something stupid. You have anybody ranging from really fucking stupid to incompetent, because we're not going to talk enough about what a fucking bad goal that was for Ilya Samsonov to give up short side off the rush to Trent fucking Frederick, who we love Trent Frederick. We're a Trent Frederick show. Ilya Samsonov, Jesus fucking Christ, bud. Really bad.
Can't give up that goal, and it's kind of a miracle that the Leafs haven't been like punished worse for the play of Ilya Samsonov. Like, if you're the Bruins, just put pucks on net. And I know that's so cliche and so trite, but like throw pucks at the net. You may get one of those to go in, because the Frederick goal was awful.
You want cliche? I'll give you a cliche. As we're being huge Boston homers, let's bring in Katie Nolan. Hi, Katie.
Hi, you guys. That was a good transition.
Thank you so much. We're working on our craft. We've gotten really
Who
good.
is producing this? You guys, this looks so good.
That's our
look at
pal
us.
Sean. Meet Sean DePaz. He's the best.
Hi,
Hello.
Sean.
Nice to meet you.
Oh,
Wow.
good. You have a microphone.
Yeah, this is. I mean, and look at you.
I know
recognize that
the
set
one
from a
that
podcast I listen to.
Oh, you listen to it, you
I
sweetheart.
do. I was gonna throw this in there at some point, maybe as an awkward sign off. I don't know Dan, but this is what I can say about Dan. If we did know each other, I'm positive I would like him. I don't know if he would like me. I can't say like we'd get along. I just know that I would like him. That's all I can give.
You'd absolutely get along. I like that you bailed on that. I feel like you were going to say you'd be friends, then you got nervous and you were like, I'd like him. He'd like you. You'd be friends.
I'm not going to bullshit a bullshitter. I can't.
He doesn't assume that anybody will be friends with him.
I've been burned too
Aren't
many
we all
times.
depressed in this room? I don't think that's
I've been burned too many times. Well, I wanted to ask you this. What's your experience like right now as a Boston sports fan? Because you're hammering these Bruins games. Celtics are doing God knows what, as they're probably going to at least go to the NBA Finals. But Patriots' third overall pick tonight. I feel like you as a Boston sports fan won't get the respect you deserve because we don't automatically win everything right now. So you actually have to like kind of experience it.
Here's the thing. People don't ever want to hear from a fan base who has experienced a lot of success in recent years. They do not want complaints from people who have had nothing but dessert for dinner for the last few years. But there are complaints to be had. And someday, hopefully, sports fans should all want to get to the point where they are us. Their team has won for a bunch of years. You can't do it forever. So you have this down period. So I think it would be wise if they would let us talk about the experiences of having this down period, if only to inform their future selves. But anyway, so let me complain. I forgot that we had to care about the draft. We never had to care about the draft. We traded those first 2-round picks away every year. I was always like, oh, look at all my friends caring. I don't have to care. So now we have to care because we stink big. And you just reminded me that it's tonight. So let me make sure that I
Is that right?
watch it, I guess.
It seems like a bad year to have to care about the draft, too.
I know. And I also don't know if that's just tied in with me feeling like it's a bad year everywhere in life in general. Like, I never know if it's like, is that my depression talking or is that actually the current state of things? And so I didn't know if it's just because like I don't, our team sucks right now, football wise, that we're like, it's a bad year for the draft. I don't know. I wonder if everybody always thinks that, but I just do feel like I find it hard to care when they're children. Once they're pros, I can care about them. I don't care about them when they're children. All the pros look like children to me now anyway, because I'm almost friggin' 40.
I will say the white quarterbacks look especially like they're 5 years old. They all look like they are 5 years old.
When I saw Zach Wilson take the pictures in the hotel mirror like he was going to prom, I was like, "There's no way he's going to be at a good."
Did you see?
Yeah, but you said he's a bust, and like he fucking was because of that.
I was like, "There's no way this guy can lead a team. He's taking pictures like he's going to prom."
Who was that? The Orioles player who's in his rookie year now, but he was drafted like 2 or 3 years ago. And when they put his picture up, everybody was like, "He's a baby. He looks like the lead in a movie about summer camp. This is not a professional athlete." They're all babies now, so good for them, though, I guess.
Let me ask you this question. What's your relationship with like the Bruins in regards to the rest of the Boston sports team? Because it seems like you're pretty fucking fired up about the Bruins.
They're the most important to me. That's my family. Like my brother played hockey growing up. So I was dragged to all of that as a child, kicking and screaming because I hated it, because nobody else played a sport where it was especially cold, where you had to go watch them do it. And I just hated it. But then now that I'm older, and I spent so much of my life in that world, I realized that like, oh, I actually loved it. It's like it's my heart. It's who I am as a person. It just was so cold and I was such a little girl, and he never came to my dance recitals.
What an asshole.
Or softball games. I know. No, he's actually the best. I will not disparage my brother. My brother rules, and I get to, we play video games together every night. So, getting to hear him last year was the worst. And that has informed the way I'm watching it this year. I don't know if this is true for you guys as well, but last year hurt so much that this year I'm like on edge constantly. Last night I had to Google if it's bad to stay feeling like you're about to throw up for too long. Like if that feeling should only ever last like 30 minutes before you actually do throw up. Because for 2.5 hours, I was like feeling like I was going to puke.
I feel like the opposite. Like I feel like last year completely numbed me, and this year I just feel like I can't be hurt.
Last year, famously,
look at it.
last year was the last time I drank alcohol.
True.
And then I slept for 17 hours and nobody could find me. And I missed that game. And I woke up and I still had ESPN on because I was watching basketball when I went to sleep. And on the ticker, it was like Florida 4, Boston 3. That season's over.
Forgot about that.
And
he legitimately slept through the entirety of Game 7 and like 12 hours after the fact. I thought that he was dead.
so I just missed all that. So I was numb in a different way.
Jeez Louise.
So you think you got problems? Anyway.
Oh, no, wait. You did ask something I didn't answer that I actually want your guys' answer on. Is like, again, anybody who's not a Bruins fan or a Boston fan, you're going to hate the next thing that comes out of my mouth. But please let me ask this question of my two friends who have a show. What do you do when your two teams in two different sports are playing playoff games at the exact same time?
I have multiple screens going, multiple TVs
Yeah,
going.
me too. But I also have, I care more about no offense, I care more about the Bruins. They mean more to me. So like I had the Celtics were on my laptop, but I didn't find that enjoyable. And when it got too stressful, I was like, I'll just watch the Celtics game later. Does that make me a bad person? Go.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I like that you bring that up because when I have multiple TVs going, I don't fucking see anything other than what I'm watching. And sometimes I have to actively remind myself to just pick one.
That's why Red Zone works. Football is the easiest to do it with. That's why Red Zone works, because they can cut to like the action. You can kind of tell. But like constant action back and forth sports, it's too hard. It's too much.
Like
realistically, hockey requires my attention.
Realistically, you can't pay attention to two games at once. Like in hockey, whether it's hockey, basketball, you can't pay attention to both. You have to be committed to one, and then like the other one you check in on.
I respect though that you do the DVR and watch after, because I have never been able to watch a game after it has happened.
No,
if it's
I've
not
never.
live
TJ, it was a
sports,
joke.
Dave
I'll
doesn't
ruin
want
it. Can I ruin it? Can I ruin it? I just needed a way to get out of that video, and so I said that I did not DVR. I've never watched DVR at sports because it's too the experience is the live moment. There's no if you're gonna skip through, if it's something you're like looking for a specific player or a specific play, but I don't. I guess I would DVR as like a backup for if something crazy happened and I wanted to go back and watch it, but it's not going to happen.
I will say,
like, and you have to live like you're in 1960 if you're going to DVR sports. Like, you can't be on your phone.
You can't touch the internet. Yeah,
exactly.
I was going to say, that's what I'm doing tonight with the NFL draft. I am closing the laptop. I am going to be even less looking at text messages, not seeing Twitter, not seeing nothing. I am turning on fucking ESPN and letting those old idiots just fucking hand it to. Oh, a trade has come in, knowing that the world has known it for 45 minutes. I want it that way.
So true. We do. Oh, that's so very Backstreet Boys of you. You do have to turn your phone off because everybody's like, it's about being first. It's about getting it. And I'm like, I actually just liked the TV show of it. Yes. I don't need to. I don't want to have to like look for, did you see that one tweet? And especially now, because Twitter, I don't see some of the tweets I think I would have seen. Like I'm seeing tweets from weird people about weird stuff now, because that website's a goddamn mess.
What's your thoughts on the Girth Master?
What?
That's the best clip of the show.
I don't know what it means either, but he asked the question.
There's a main character on Twitter this week called the Girth Master. Sean, do you know who I'm talking about?
I think you forget that your timeline is based on the things that you
just me.
search up.
It's not just me. I've checked around.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Any other context, and maybe we'll know what you're talking about.
There's a guy. There was like a clip that went viral this week of an Australian guy who got interviewed on the street, and they were like, "What do you do for work?" He's like, "I'm a content creator on OnlyFans. I make $100,000 a month." And people investigated it. They found his profile. He named himself the Girth Master, and he has a penis that is like the size of a wine bottle. It is ridiculous.
You know what's funny is the only interaction I've had with this is Dan. This is on Dan's whatever page where he was like, "You see the Girth Master thing," which now I'm realizing you guys were talking. That's crazy. What?
Chad is like out of control right now. They are totally upset with me.
The whole chat is like, Pete, stop talking. Pete, stop talking. Pete.
We're all friends here.
Oh my God.
So I was going to say, if I wanted to hear talk like that, I would just watch PK Subban. Did you see PK Subban at the intermission, Katie?
I switch off the intermission because listen, PK Subban hates us. I think he has his reasons, and I think we sort of have to reckon with that as a fan base. So I try not to listen to him because I know he doesn't like us, and I know I'm not going to like what he has to say. What did he say? So
I like PK Subban the person. He's a fucking dreadful analyst.
Yes,
that whole thing is not a good time. But what were they showing somebody? They were showing Jack Eichel cutting his stick.
Yeah,
and they did something. This was like something that Pete and I would do. They come back and PK is like, "Well, I was gonna say, no, I won't say it." And they were like, "What were you going to say, PK?" That. And he was like,
"Oh no,
I'm not a carpenter, but I've been known to swing a hammer, or like, but I've got a hammer."
Yeah.
And Steve Levy was like, "I've heard that about you, PK."
That was
and
the
it's
weirdest
like,
part
wrong
of it.
fucking broadcast to be doing that on.
Just what
all
the
wrong
hell?
people were saying that the whole fucking show. That broadcast is like, we are going to be the buttoned up one. We're not going to be the fast and loose one. Like, if Biz says that on TNT, no one fucking listens and they just move on and it's really funny. And then we clip it and we're like, did you hear what Biz got in there? But PK did like, everybody, I have something to say. I won't say it. My penis.
And then he laughed for like 3 minutes afterwards, like somebody else said it. Like, you know, like the laugh that you give, like when you're like, I can't believe he just said that. He did that shit after he said it himself.
But buddy, you were in control.
I think if we're making the case that hockey is for everyone, we have to allow old men to talk about their penises.
But I don't know if old men talk about their penises.
We also have every other sport for that. Like, what if we just let this one not be that?
That is true.
Damn. I just want to see something genuinely funny on sports TV. I miss it. Other than like the NBA, inside the NBA, I just feel like everything's so like, not going to say the thing. Oh, he almost said the thing. Say the thing, kind of. Laugh for 5 minutes, go to break. And you're just like, that's not that
They're
funny,
going for
guys.
the clip.
Come on.
Yeah.
I guess.
Hey, did you see the Brad Marchand lip reading thing that went down last night?
Yeah, okay, so when you brought up Biz, I was going to say, didn't he report that was the wrong, didn't he say what they said? And I was like,
mean it, Biz. Bad job.
Yeah.
What the hell? That was such a bad look. Yeah, I saw the clip. I can't read lips. I'll be the first to admit it.
You didn't have to. It was loud.
Yeah, right. That's thing, there was audio.
Oh, there was?
There was audio. You could hear him saying
like, hey guys.
So funny.
Like,
I was just watching the clip real close because I assumed it was a lip read. I'm an idiot. So that's on me. But I do think it's just crazy, even if they were just lip reading, to put that on the official tweet and just send it without any sort of, I don't know. I feel like we grew up in the era where that was going to get checked and checked and checked, and they would make sure that they wrote like at least the word sources before, like, to just say that that's exactly what happened without being like, maybe that's not correct is wild.
Yeah,
it's more wild for Biz to see that Sportsnet tweeted it, then deleted it, and then recite it like 2 hours later on like the late edition of the panel, and be like, this is what he said. And then it was posted again by Bleacher Report, being like, "Look what Brad Marchand said." We already did this.
But doesn't it all speak to how much Brad Marchand is breaking everybody, both inside and outside the Leafs dressing room? Katie, I don't know how you feel about this series right now, but last night was my holy fuck, the Leafs are so stupid and they are so able to be got, which we've always known. But in one game, Brad Marchand said, yes, I have 3 points this series, but I haven't really made my presence felt. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to fuck with Tyler Bertuzzi for a little bit. He's not good enough to match me as a player, so he's going to fuck up and go too far with that. Their goalie's going to be dumb. Their defensemen are going to be dumb. Their coach is going to say something afterwards, and no one's going to get it, and I'm going to be laughing at the end of this. Like, if I'm a Bruins fan, I feel so fucking confident right now.
Can I ask a really stupid question?
Always.
This is live, so I'm going to joke.
I asked you about Girthmaster, so it won't be the dumbest one on this thing. So go ahead.
Is it not Samsonov anymore? Weren't we
No,
doing
not
that
anymore.
That's not a dumb question at all.
We checked it yesterday, I think. It
Why
was
is that?
Samsonov in Washington,
yeah,
and then just somewhere over the years. So now when I saw a clip of PFT commenter talking about him, and he said Samsonov, and I was taught a thing over years ago by Luke Bonner, which is don't judge somebody if they mispronounce a word because it means they've only read it. They just haven't heard it. They haven't heard it spoken yet.
It's me all the time.
If you hear somebody say Samsonov, it means they've heard about him probably longer than you, because they know him from back in the day when we all said his name wrong. So it's Samsonov now.
Oh, so actually I'm smarter. I'm not, that wasn't stupid. That was me being really smart.
You were right. Yeah.
That was a flex.
Oh, yeah. This also feels like the Marchand thing when that happened.
Well, that's like him being an asshole. He changed his name like 3 times.
Back to the point, which is that he's so good at it. God, I'd hate him more than anything if he was anybody but ours. And I love him that much because he's ours. He's just the best.
I actually have seen like the court of public opinion shift on Brad Marchand. Like I've seen a lot of neutrals be like, damn, Brad Marchand's actually cool.
You know what?
Did you notice how many sorry to cut you off, DJ, on your own show, how many like Canadian team fans are like us or like are on our side? Is that because they hate Toronto that much?
Yeah, very simple explanation. Everybody hates Toronto.
Yeah, Canadian teams can't feel as bad about them not winning the cup if they can be like, Leafs, what the fuck are you guys doing, bud? So I think that, and we have some.
But I would never support a Habs fan in any endeavor. I mean, the Habs in any endeavor. So I can't. Seeing them support us, I'm like, what's wrong? What are you doing? Get out of here.
Oh man, no. I think honestly, a big part of it, not to get high on our own supply, the clips of us goofing around with Marchand at the beginning of the year, being like, oh fuck, you guys are making fun of him for being short, and not only is he not killing you, he's like
genuinely enjoying
adding to it and making it even funnier. So this guy is actually a funny person and doesn't kill people who are making fun of him. I can get down with that. Yeah, especially for people who want to make fun of Brad Marchand themselves. But I thought that all the stuff last night with Marchand was just masterful on his part, but also the Leafs losing their fucking shit after. At some point, we'll play the Sheldon Keefe clip where he was talking about
it's an art, he's elite at it clip.
Yeah, where he's like, it's an art, he's elite at it, the way that he gets calls, the way that he's able to do this, and he draws all these penalties, blah, blah. There were 3 penalties taken by the Leafs last night, okay? One was drawn by Charlie Coyle, one was drawn by Charlie McAvoy, and the other one came from your idiot defenseman fucking sending the puck over the glass totally unprompted. None of those 3 penalties had anything to do with Brad Marchand. The goal that was scored by Trent Frederick, yes, it had a little something to do with him because your team was crying about him when he was fucking around with Tyler Bertuzzi, but also your goalie has to make that save. And the goal that Brad Marchand scored, you know why that was fucking scored? Because after Tyler Bertuzzi scored for your team, you, the coach, Sheldon Keefe, with last change at home, saw Boston put out a new line and said, you know what, boys? Let's run it back. Stay out there. They have fresh legs, sure, but get out. 28 seconds later, they allow a goal. It's your fucking fault that you lost that game. And also your captain at the end of the game took a really stupid fucking penalty that, was it a great call? No, but if you fucking hold a defenseman behind the net in front of an official, it's getting called. Everything was self-inflicted. Like 5% of it was Brad Marchand doing the Brad Marchand thing. 95% of it was the Leafs fucking melting down.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, if for a game in which Brad Marchand burrowed himself into the brains of the Leafs fans, it was done in the most tasteful way Brad Marchand could possibly do it.
No cheap shots.
No cheap shots. No like real super asshole behavior. Like you could say, you can look at the interaction with Bertuzzi and say he should have been called for a penalty, but it wasn't like dirty. He was just fucking mixing it up with them. So about as tasteful a Brad Marchand troll game as you could ever imagine.
Well, that's why it's an art and he's elite at it. To me, to these ears, that was a compliment. I was like, it 100%. Absolutely is. And the eliteness of it is the fact that his fingerprints aren't on any of the things, but he was in their heads and somehow he's like Littlefinger. He's like moving in the shadows and like he can still mess with you without being out front as being the one that like causes the thing and actually physically messes with you. He's brilliant and he's good at hockey. It's like he doesn't have to be all the things and he is, and I love that.
And that's the thing, like Bertuzzi the last 2 games has been doing some of the like along the line. Sometimes he crosses it, and as I watch that, I'm like, not quite good enough to be doing that. You're not good enough at hockey to be doing that, and he is a good player. Yeah. But I'm like, it's a lot easier to swallow when it's a guy who could score 40 goals.
I mean, not that this guy scores 40 goals, but I don't look at Bertuzzi as the guy on Toronto who's trying to be the Marchand. It's Max Domi. Mm-hmm. Max Domi clearly came out in game 1 of this series and made it very clear that he was going to try to be the villain in this series. And At points, he's been effective, but at points, it seems like he's kind of just pushing that agenda too hard and being a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I mean, the shortest path to it is to mess with somebody's goalie. And last night, I know that afterwards, Sway was like, "No, we just were both skating. It's like not a big deal. I need to get my abs stronger," or whatever he said. But it just like that just feels like you're right. I didn't notice really that until you just said that that's clearly what he's trying to do, and how embarrassing to not be that good at it.
Yeah, that's the thing for that role. That role can be a very, very crucial and just very endearing role to play on a team. But if you do it incorrectly, you look like a fucking moron.
Yeah, and Max Domi right now, I would say, is as good as Brad Marchand was in 2011. So if like the Leafs can make some sort of run, maybe he can be a part of that. But Katie, I just don't see it happening. I think the Leafs are dead, and I think they fucked themselves last night. I want to ask you this as a Boston person. How do you feel about the goalie rotation? Because we haven't weighed in on this yet. I'm going all Mark in game 4. Fuck you guys.
I didn't say anything.
I am as well. I don't know about fuck you guys, but I think that last year scared me. And I just think like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like if somebody has a bad game, you don't immediately bench them. Like that's not good for like, you know what I'm saying? I know it wouldn't be a benching, but if the point is that we're alternating and then suddenly you're just like, well, we didn't win your game, so you don't get to start like you normally would, is wild, because Ullmark is not the reason that we lost that game by a long shot. It was the offense's fault. So why would you, even if you think, is it like some elite level of like superstition that you think him start? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Stick with what has worked and fix the things that were broken. But the goaltending has not been the problem by a long shot.
No, definitely not. I would honestly say go back to Ullmark in game 4, just because the rotation has been working all season. It's been working so far in this series. Both, like, we haven't got a bad goaltending performance yet. I think if you're going to mess with the goalie rotation, it's more because somebody shits the bed versus somebody has a really good game. And Jeremy Swayman has been the better goalie in this series. It maybe been the best Bruin in this series. But I would still say, you know, don't fuck with what isn't broken yet.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to leave in the first round. We have more rounds we're going to have to do after this. So if we already start like messing around with the formula, then who's to say the effect that's going to have on a goalie for the next series and then the next? It's like, just keep it. We don't need to do anything crazy right now. We should be beating this team. We should be moving on. Stay the course.
That's exactly what I was going to say. There's going to be a tough decision. Like, why make a tough decision now when you can make a tough decision later? That's the number one rule of life. Right. Don't fucking do it now. Kick it down the road. And right now you have the excuse of, this is what the plan was. We would, but we have a plan. Sorry. And then wait till you have to make a tough decision.
Either way. This, again, an embarrassment of riches complaint, but if you have two amazing goalies, the difficult thing is that if you don't start one, then you bench an amazing goalie, and when the game is over, people can point to that as the reason why you lost. Like, that is a difficult thing about this situation, but it's like, that comes with it. So I think, like you said, just stick with the plan, and they're going to criticize no matter what if anything happens, but you can go, but this was the plan. But you knew the plan. And you can also go, and it was the offense. This is the problems with the offense. It had nothing to do with that. So,
and then you get to do we're doing a very hockey fan thing right now, which is, hey, it wasn't the goaltending. I know that your dumbass is going to look at the goalie. It's that they didn't score enough. That's my favorite hockey argument, because it's always right. It's like, well, they would have won if they fucking scored more goals. So you take that goallie take and you stuff it, brother.
But then look at like the Jets Avalanche game. It was like 8-7. I don't think anybody was looking at that game being like, if they only scored more, if they only hung up 8 goals on Connor Hellebuck.
Was their second game have they had their second game yet?
Yeah, there was. And it was another kind of fucking crazy one. Connor Hellebuck has allowed 10 goals in 2 games. I don't think he allowed 10 goals this season.
Oh my God.
Really weird stuff. I'm surprised to say the chat, by and large, fucking agrees on Ullmark. They're saying go Ullmark. It's been a very positive chat this whole time, except one person who said these hosts are gay, typical Bruins fans, and then someone responded to that and said, I'm gay, so fuck you. It's the kind of energy I want in our chat.
Is that the person that you banned, Sean? I saw somebody got booted.
Yeah, I banned the person for being homophobic, but the chat was coming at him. So
our chat is so good.
Respect.
Yeah. Let's go, Chet.
We've cultivated. I don't know how we did it, but we've cultivated a very good and a very pro-gay
Because you guys
chat.
are sweetie pies. Because you're absolute sweetie pies. That's why. Because you're funny, silly sweetie pies who love sports, and we love you for that.
Well, you're the best, Katie. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you at some point later, deep in the Bruins run. Good luck tonight with the 3rd overall pick. Drake May maybe for you?
Oh, yeah. Shoot. Okay, yeah. I gotta
DVR it.
What did you say?
DVR the draft.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not checking my phone. My screen time, 10 hours a day. 10 hours a day.
It's not good.
I don't know what mine is. It's not
good behavior.
10 hours a day. But a lot of it's
and
New York Times crosswords.
And you don't know the Girth Master. What are you doing on your phone for 10 hours a day?
I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter. It's a lot of Reddit. It's a lot of crossword puzzles. Okay, goodbye.
Oh, also, thank you for sending me the clip of Do You Want to Call Me a Slur? Because I say that now, and it's my favorite. I never go on TikTok. Katie was on Pablo Torre's fantastic show discussing the best TikToks, and she talked about a guy who said, "Do you want to call me a slur?" to his mom. I said, "Yo, send me that clip." I have not opened TikTok in like 5 years other than to post something, and that's my favorite TikTok in the world. So thank you. If you see anything that level, send it along to us, and we'll be on it.
I have so much of that. I'll send you. I've got like 50. I'll send them to you today.
Oh, you're the best. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye, Katie.
Love you guys.
You're the best. Love you too.
Bye.
What a legend. Chat, if you're in here, please hit the like button right below the video player. Thumbs up. It is like spike time. 3, 2, 1. Hit that thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so now.
And yeah, subscribe big time. We're doing better. I was looking at the numbers. We have more people than usual.
That's why I made sure to sneak that in.
Yeah. Subscribe for real. That wasn't just a subscribe if you look, you're new. Subscribe.
If you're new and you liked what you just saw, please subscribe.
What did we do at the end? People are mad at us. They said, Pete, don't do that. DJ, don't do that. What did we do?
I said Girthmaster again.
So
every time I bring up Girthmaster, the chat goes bananas saying don't.
What did I do? Oh, are they mad that I outed their behavior on the chat? Because the chat was good.
Chat was great.
I'm going to hype you guys up all the fucking time. Everybody. All right. Well, hope you are subscribed. And if you haven't yet, press that button for sure. Pete and I did not 10X last night. We did not. We tried.
Yeah.
We were hammering 10Xs. We did a 10X.
To be fair.
Not good offerings.
Not the best board I've ever seen.
But again, that's what I like about Prize Picks. Feels more like a game than anything else. It's not just a mindless, I'm going to toss in a thing. And then the next hour, I'm like, where did my fucking $100 go or whatever? That's what my betting experience can feel like sometimes. Prize Picks feels like I am actively playing a game and participating with the sport that I am watching. And I love that about Prize Picks because it's fucking hard.
You know what it kind of feels like to me? It kind of feels like one of those like farm to table services where it's like, this is what we've got today. Make a dinner out of it.
Yeah.
And it's not, you don't get like a grocery store's worth of ingredients. It's not like the world is your oyster. You have to make a dinner out of the ingredients given to you. And it forces you to think a little bit differently, and I like that.
Isn't it nice when you go to make dinner, you go to the grocery store? I famously am a grocery store
enthusiast?
6-7 times a week kind of guy.
Crazy
very frequent small trips.
I mean, 6-7 times a week is insane, but I have recently become an as-need grocery shopper. Yeah.
I don't have anything just hanging around.
I have some stuff, but like, I'll do like one big trip a month and then kind of replenish things I need.
A thing I love about doing this show, though, is I do have the time to make dinner. So if I want to be lazy, I can be lazy. But I like getting to the grocery store, finding they don't have that one thing I want. And I'm like, okay, how are we going to supplement? How are we going to change this around a little bit? That is the Prize Picks experience. Because then when you eat that meal that has sweet potatoes instead of, I don't know, maybe you're going to go for green beans, something like that. You think, you know what? These sweet potatoes hit. Yeah. Now I'm on a sweet potato kick. That's what I do with Prize Picks, where I say, you know what? I really don't like to DFS on time on ice, but boy, Doughty played a lot last night.
Sure did.
I'm a huge cutthroat kitchen guy. It's a sign of a good cook when you can cook with the ingredients given to you.
Is that what cutthroat kitchen is? It's just like
it's you have to like run it. They have like wild card ingredients you got to cook with sometimes, and you got to run into a grocery store with like a limited amount of time and collect your your ingredients and stuff like that. And like I said, that's a sign of a good cook when you can make something out of what's.
So do you run into the grocery store when you do it?
Yes, I sprint in, and I'm just like I'm pushing old ladies out of the way, being like, I need my green beans right now. I only have 2 minutes.
That could be some Schaff season content that we could do. Like supermarket sweep style show that the store does not know that that's what's happening. And Sean just has to run in and find these like 30 ingredients.
That would be so unsettling if I was just grocery shopping and there was a man sprinting through the aisles.
If I am in the public and someone sprints, my immediate reaction is, where's the exit?
Yes.
And they're wearing sweatsuits. They're wearing monochromatic sweatsuits with name tags on. If like you just fucking start sprinting through and you're wearing all red sweatsuit with a name tag that says Sean, and you're like, where's the fucking macaroni? Where's the macaroni? Where's the macaroni? What, you think people would leave?
I would.
You know what I would do? I'd say I was just there. It's the macaroni's over there. I'd be helpful. That's me helping my fellow man.
No.
Prize Picks is going to love this read.
Yeah. That's what I would do.
I respect that. You're built different.
So we didn't 10X, but we did go across multiple games last night.
Yeah,
which was fun
cross
to do.
streams.
Yeah, it's the first time that we've done that since we've been 10X cops. Didn't win, but that's okay. Not everybody has to win all the time. You could still be in control of the series. That's a very...
I wasn't laughing at you. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that's a very humanitarian take.
No, I was laughing at Emily. She said she's the biggest sweet fries homo to TBH. I'm a huge sweet potato fries guy.
So am I. Sweet potato fries are incredible.
Gotta dip them in honey.
Yeah, go to prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Also, for the record, people were yelling at you in the chat because I don't think they understood the "do you want to call me a slur" thing.
Oh,
they thought you were making like slur jokes. It was, if I remember correctly, a gay guy.
Yep.
Saying that his mom was going to call him a gay slur. Because of his Starbucks order or something like that, right?
So I'll do it in 10 seconds. And please take the Prize Picks imaging down for this.
Yes.
I'll do it in 10 seconds. But he says, so my dad just came home with Starbucks and he handed me my cold brew. And I said, oh, thank you so much. And my mom said, oh, you and your coffee drinks. And then he like makes the camera zoom in a little bit. He goes, do you want to call me a slur, Helen? And that's all it is.
So good. It's such a good.
Because
so
somebody said, like, if you were to say, like, you and your coffee drinks, there's like some fucking.
You and your
what
blank.
Are you fucking suggesting?
You and your anything blank.
I got mad at a friend for a fucking year because I lost some weight one time. This would be discussed on a brunch episode. I lost some weight. And one of my friends said, oh, the annual DJ diet. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
that is offensive.
What the
I don't know
fuck?
what that means, but that's offensive.
Yeah. So it's the same kind of thing. Like, what are you trying to say?
It is very much like.
There's a tinge of like, you got something to fucking say?
Yeah. It could be anything. Like, it could be literally, like, if I were just like, you and your hats, Pete.
Yep.
That's an insult, even though you wear hats relatively frequently.
No, we just, for anybody new here, we always give guests the opportunity to say a slur before they sign off the interview.
Yeah,
we're the Jesus and Marrow. We're like, what do you want to say above you?
The slur
do you want any hate speech above you? I'm so fucking glad that, like, we're dicks in kind of a realm where we make fun of the Maple Leafs and everything. But imagine also being, like, actual dicks. Ugh.
like literally?
Imagine being a dick. I know that you fucking imagine. It's all you've talked about this whole show.
It's true. I'm like basically the size of the girth master.
No, but I'm like, imagine if we were actually like fucking talking like Subban was talking.
I know.
Check out my dick.
I think I've been known to say bigger.
I want to defend PK there for a second. He tried not to say it. He gave everyone.
No, he didn't. No, anytime you bring up, oh, I was gonna say something, but now I'm not gonna say it.
But
that's you being a pussy.
Levy needs to protect PK from himself. Like, PK gave everyone an opportunity to move on, and Levy was like, say it. That's bad behavior.
PK did give them an opportunity to move on.
I will
not
say,
do that.
As I know certain hosts that would, in that moment, say, well, maybe maybe we'll save it for social media or something and move on.
You got to move on in that situation.
Bad behavior by Steve Levy, but if we're doing power rankings on what the fuck are they doing on this show, I'm leaving Steve Levy out of it. I think that all three, as we've discussed, would do a better job if it were a different crew. Like Messier, if he was on the old NBC broadcasts, fucking perfect.
Messier could be good on TNT. Like, I think you could put just about anybody that knows what they're talking about on TNT.
Messier would be great on TNT because it wouldn't require him to watch hockey. Yeah. He could just chime in like the Gretzky sort of Gretzky rate.
Not as interesting as
if you're Mark Messier, what the fuck are you doing making yourself have to watch every game?
He doesn't. He's not making himself do that.
Someone's supposed to be making him do it. He just doesn't do that.
He's not doing it.
Wouldn't it be better if they leaned into it though? If Steve Levy was like, all right, welcome to the intermission report. Let's find out if either of these idiots watched a second of this game. Like if SNL cared enough about hockey, that would be a good bit for them to do.
They could do who he play for guys that literally just played the period that they were supposed to watch. That would be incredible.
They did the other night. They came in, they were like, PK, what's the score? And it took them a second. And we were discussing, sometimes we don't remember the score of the game that we were talking about from the night before, but literally it is a current game that is going on, and there is a giant scoreboard both behind and in front of PK Subban as this question's being asked.
Not great.
It shouldn't have taken him a second.
All the blood was at his penis. Just none of the blood going to his brain.
I know we have another ad read, but we did get a super chat during the interview, and I forgot about it. Our friend, the love of your life.
The love of your life. I love you so much. I know that you're in the Discord. I saw somebody ask you, have you ever been to Boston before? And you were like, no, wouldn't want to. Heard it sucks. Bad behavior. Boston, you can easily find Boston to be a bad place for a lot of reasons. I don't like, personally, that album shouldn't have won a Grammy.
Did you listen to it?
Why would I listen to that album?
Exactly.
I agree in certain situations, but The Love of Your Life is a man after my own heart. I'm a huge fan of just shitting on places for no reason.
I know you are.
Like Utah, before
before
the Coyotes thing, way before the Coyotes thing. Like, this goes years back. Always said, fuck Utah. Fuck that state. Fuck everything about it.
First live show we do, we will have the love of your life as a special guest. If they want to come. And if they don't want to come, that's absolutely fine as well. And I also, in all seriousness, understand that a lot of sports fandom is being like, fuck that place, and they have goats. And they're goats. Fucking weird place that have goats roaming around. Yep. That's what you do. And if you Google Boston, it's going to be a bunch of Sam Adams people.
It was a $2 super chat that said, Lil B based, go please get rid of Boston, please base God. I haven't heard a Lil B.
I don't know
reference.
any of those words.
I think
Lil B. You don't remember Lil B?
I think he dropped a letter. Or I think they dropped a letter. Lil B based God, please get rid of Boston.
Oh,
please.
yeah. I remember Lil B the base God. Yeah. He was the one who would just like tweet about things that like
you'd bless things.
Oh, yeah, right.
And he would curse things. And he was quite powerful at a time.
Man, what happened to Lil B the base God?
Lil B, the base God, seems like a person.
He met the girth god and got squeezed out.
I feel like he did not age well on the internet. I don't know. He seems like the kind of person who the internet eventually would have beat.
Well, guess what? If you're trying to make a competitive OnlyFans to compete with the Girth Master, you're going to want to make sure that your stuff is taken care of and that you're not covered in hair down there. You know what you need to do? You need to manscape yourself. And Manscaped is a great partner for this show. Even if you want to, if you got a playoff beard going, you're trying to keep that playoff beard in check, Manscaped. Got little trimmers for your face and also your pubes. Nice. Keep them in check with Manscaped because Manscaped has incredible technology for taking care of your business. The Lawnmower 5.0, we can't stop talking about it. LED lights, wireless charging. What else is it's got? Like heft. It's got attachments. Got all the good stuff.
It's got easy on-off control.
That's right. You do not have to.
Bag.
You do not travel bag. Incredible travel bag. A lot of attachments. A lot of all the accessories that you could ever want.
And no lip reading needed. When you turn it on, goes. So you know
it's buzzing.
It's buzzing.
It's buzzing like the boys.
Boys are buzzing.
Mhm.
And
Buzzes around the net.
it limits your capabilities of cutting your own penis, and that is extremely important. So, in addition to providing the right tools and solutions for comfortable and easy grooming, Manscaped is committed to raising awareness and giving support for fighters, survivors, and families impacted by testicular cancer. That's why they'll be donating $50,000 to the Testicular Cancer Society. Help save lives and balls by going to manscaped.com/TCS and sharing their funny, educational, check yourself videos. And while you're at it, you can get 20% off and free shipping with code WhatChaos, because like a famous American philosopher once said, take care of your mentals, your balls, and your chickens.
Okay.
We got another super chat, $4.99 from Girthmaster. I have arrived.
Nice.
Got the
Hell
Girthmaster
yeah.
in the
Very
chat.
good. Respect to you, Girthmaster. All right, I'm thinking live show in Boston at some point. How we feel about a live show in Chicago?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Always down for that. I mean, especially for the Winter Classic.
Pre-Winter Classic?
Yeah.
We doing it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I think Whatnuts would travel as well.
I think there would be a lot of Whatnuts at the Winter Classic.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And
New Year's
CHGO
Eve
has
in
power,
Chicago.
Famously, our listeners are more about us than they are about hockey. So I don't know if they...
CHGO, though.
Yeah.
Got the family there.
Yeah. All right, we're
Yeah.
cooking here. This would be really good.
Do we have any leftovers from the Bruins? Oh, I did want to talk about the Jersey jackass from last night. That guy in the pregame, the camera showed him. He's wearing a Bruins jersey that is altered, and all the Bruins logos are just covered up with Maple Leafs logos. And I have no idea what the fuck is happening here. I hate this guy, but I do respect him because he pulled off an incredibly difficult move, which is pissing off two fan bases equally with like a 50-50 split.
Yeah, I don't know. This is this is very fence city, but I refuse to judge this guy until I know the backstory.
No, I'm judging him.
Because
Terrible.
if this is like a dunk on the Bruins in some way, like I'm curious what's on the back of it. But if this is a dunk on the Bruins, then that's awesome. Then it's like a massive fuck you. I'm taking your jersey and I'm putting my logo all over it. Otherwise, I don't understand what's going. Oh yeah, I can't understand what's going on.
I hate to do this. I need more information as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Because again, like that, especially because it's like got the year on it. It seems like a very specific thing. Like I don't think he's just like an asshole. There's definitely a story behind it, and the story can definitely change whether or not it's cool or not.
I do want Pete to be aggressively mad at
No,
this.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
like
go
I
off.
think in certain cases, guilty until proven innocent is the correct course of action, and that's where I am here. Like this guy is the devil until he talks himself out of it.
Yeah,
And like there's something to be said for there's certain colors you don't wear in certain neighborhoods. And if you show up to Fenway Park in pinstripes, you're like, oh no, it's actually you're wearing fucking pinstripes at Fenway Park.
I don't know. Fenway Park's kind of gotten soft recently.
Fenway Park has gotten so soft. Bad example. I'm talking like 90s Fenway
Yeah.
Park,
Ah.
where you ain't getting out of there without some shit spilled on you and hearing some words you didn't know existed.
I was at Fenway last week, and the kid got up to take a picture at the front of the bleachers, like right in front, in between. Like there's the field, the bullpen, and then the bleachers. Right in front of the bleachers, stood up in front of everybody in the Yankees hoodie. Not a peep from the crowd.
Push him over.
Not
You
a
must
Push him
have
over
been
the
so
edge.
disgusted.
Yeah.
I was disgusted, and like my friend that I was with was just like, Fenway's not the same. It was very sad.
Did I tell you about Pete knows this. Did I tell you about the kid in the Nets hat at a Celtics Nets playoff game?
I don't
And then
remember.
Nats had at the Celtics. No.
So we're in one of the first rows of the balcony. A kid is wearing a Nets hat for Celtics Nets playoffs, and he's got a Nets jersey on. He's got all his stuff, not bothering anybody, but he's still wearing enemy colors and stuff and uniform, whatever, paraphernalia at TD Garden. This one guy is yelling at him. He's like, take that shit off. We don't wear that shit here. Boston, blah, blah, blah. At one point, the guy takes the kid's hat, throws it off the ledge, off the balcony, and immediately we all told on that guy and got
Yeah.
him kicked out.
No, 100%.
So
That's asshole behavior.
I mean, that's
I
it's
miss
crossing a line.
I miss sports being mean.
Yeah.
Like I miss Fenway in like it being hostile territory.
Yeah.
I do think that sports arenas should be hostile territory, but you also have to have a line and you got to respect people.
And
Yeah.
I will say that in defense of Boston sports fans, like the reputation that Boston sports fans have for like yelling not okay shit is like the Adam Jones thing happened, and if you refute that, you're a fucking idiot. But like the idea that Celtics games are people like yelling hate speech is just so fucking incorrect.
Yeah, that's Utah.
Yeah, right. Like, I've never, just because like you're not safe to do that in Boston. If you do that, you're getting your ass kicked. And if you do something that like is actively inhumane or not nice, such as like throwing the guy's hat, we're fucking telling you. Yeah. That's how we fucking roll, man.
I'm almost disappointed that like if you, especially if it's a kid, gotta get your ass kicked. Like someone's just got to bite that bullet and go to jail for the night.
I mean, famously, the Toronto Maple Leafs, that kid threw the other guy's hat on the ice.
Yeah,
and basically, I think he got like banned from Scotiabank.
Yeah.
So there are consequences for bad behavior, and I like that.
Do you know what happened at the Oilers game when Zach Hyman scored his hat trick?
I saw that.
Tyler Yaremchuk.
The kid paid him $50 to throw his hat.
The guy next to Tyler Yaremchuk takes out a 50 and said, "This is yours. Throw that hat."
Oh, that's unbelievable behavior.
That is
enough to buy a hat.
And it's
exactly. And it's like that person just wanting the biggest show out for Hyman's hat trick possible.
Yeah, and I mean,
and willing to pay out of pocket to get one more hat on the ice. That's incredible.
I hope we can do it.
That's brotherhood shit.
It makes sense, right?
Family.
Because like realistically, if you had like in that moment, he's like, "Damn, I should have worn a hat." If he had worn a hat, he's gonna have to buy a new one, and that's like $40, $50 anyways. So you might as well spend it on a hat.
Here's the question: like, you were looking at an Oilers hat earlier this week. It was like a pinstriped hat, and you wanted it so bad. It was sold out.
Oh, yeah.
If you were at an Oilers game and Zach Hyman scored a hat trick, and you had the knowledge that if you throw that hat on the ice, you're not going to be able to replace it, it's a tough decision. But I think that by wearing it to an Oilers game and being within hat throwing distance, you're in like the zone.
I think going to an Oilers game wearing a hat that you're not prepared to throw onto the ice is bad behavior.
And at this point, I've reached the status of, remember that poor schmuck behind us at the Lakers game who was like, waited my whole life to get to the Staples Center. I think it was the Crip at that point, but he was like, waited my whole life to see the Lakers.
So bad
like
for
those
that person.
lifelong Arsenal fans who like get to go across the pond and see Arsenal. If I make it to an Oilers game in person,
there's nothing you won't do.
I'm throwing everything. I'm throwing hats. I'm throwing ass. I am throwing absolutely everything I've got, especially if Zach Hyman scores. I will say I chickened out yesterday. I almost got there's a Hunter chain. I don't know why I didn't get it. I got an email from the Oilers team store that was like, "We've got all your Hunter gear." And I was like, who told?
I think you told on yourself.
They had so many good Hunter things there. I did buy a Hunter stuffed animal for the set though.
Did you?
Just didn't get the chain. Yeah.
All right.
I got an Oilers. I got another Oilers jersey.
While we're on the Oilers and we've done some behavior grades.
Yes.
Klim Kostin made some news this week. Former Oiler showed up to Oilers Kings game 1 wearing a Klim Kostin Oilers jersey, which is like fucking hilarious, and I'm totally undecided on whether or not it's bad behavior. What are your thoughts?
I think,
it's
Sean, do we have
behavior.
the picture? Do we have the Klim Kostin picture? Okay, well, imagine Sharks player, active NHL, San Jose Shark, Klim Kostin, came with it, was wearing it over his shoulders, and then he was like, you know what? I'm just going to fucking put it on. And there was a guy at the Oilers game in a Klim Kostin jersey because it was Klim Kostin. Amazing. I don't know that it's too different from a Kachuk wearing oh, come on.
That's a blood.
No,
that's a blood relation. Like that. That's totally different in my mind.
But he's boys with the boys.
Completely
He's boys with the
unacceptable
boys.
behavior.
Like I don't have a problem with him going to an Oilers game. Going to an Oilers game, not only wearing an opponent's jersey, like a team that you're not on's jersey, but your own jersey from when you played for that team.
Completely
it's kind of weird behavior.
It's completely unacceptable. I mean,
like, yeah, if I was a fan of a team and I saw one of my current players going to an
I want
old
him traded
team,
if I'm a Sharks fan.
I don't know if I want him traded because the Sharks don't have many good players. So
I mean,
gotta hold on to all the the good players that
Yeah,
you
fair
possibly
enough.
can.
But
It's really strange.
it's completely unacceptable behavior because it's like wearing LeBrons when you're playing LeBron. Next time you play the Oilers, you want fuck off. You want to beat us so bad. Like what are you gonna do?
That seems more of like a you miss what you had kind of thing.
Yeah,
versus,
but it's just like you simply cannot do that.
If he had worn like an Oilers hat, if he had worn like an Oilers hat, I don't think it would have been as interesting. But him wearing his own jersey is so wild.
It says, would it make you feel better if he was wearing like a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins jersey?
Yeah.
No, it would make me feel way worse.
What? No, like at that point, I would be like, okay, he's there to support like maybe his best friend who is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. By wearing your own jersey, it's like him trying to like relive his glory days of being an Edmonton Oiler.
I guess that's fair.
I wouldn't expect anything different from Sean. This is loyal Sean at his finest.
So
he does not respect. Hey, you signed a fucking contract. This is America.
I mean, no,
I voted for Trump. It's
literally the whole point of sports is tribalism. Like it's all like I've said this before. The reason I love sports is because it doesn't mean anything. None of it matters. Who wins, who loses.
Very Devin Cooley of you.
The sun's still coming up tomorrow.
What are the two most recent things that have happened with the Sharks?
They fired their coach.
They fired their good coach, and their goalie said, "We're all gonna fucking die."
Yeah,
they got bigger fish to fry, literally.
Yeah, but they have bigger fish to fry, but they also like they don't need this. There's no positive here if you're a Sharks fan. It's only negative.
Yeah, especially because you're at a time now as a Sharks fan where you're like, well, this all just kind of fucking sucks. Like a couple years ago, we were winning playoff series, and now we are the worst team in hockey. And now one of the few things that is good about our team is wearing the jersey of another hockey team.
I don't know.
We have to play against.
Klim's probably got some questions as to what's going on. I like just fucking experience your life, man. You like the boys?
Yeah, like he's having a good time, and I'm not trying to roast Klim Kostin here, and I don't necessarily think it's bad behavior.
I do.
I think it's weird behavior.
It is literally questionable behavior. I think that we are right to question it. Sean has more of a firm answer than we do.
I think it is bad behavior. Like I say all the time, live your life, do whatever you want, but you need to be prepared to deal with whatever consequences come. And if I'm a Sharks fan, I'm upset about this.
Speaking of the Sharks,
they
fired their coach yesterday.
What the fuck? That makes so little sense to me. And earlier, I vividly remember having this conversation. Remember when we were talking about the draft, and I was like, I hope the Sharks can get the first overall pick. Don't fire Quinn. And both of you were like, why would they fire Quinn? You're kind of being crazy. And I didn't push back at all. I was like, I am being fucking crazy. Why would they? Like, you gave good reason as to this is part of what he's doing there. They're going to be bad. They're trading away all their good players. They can't be expected. He's not failing them in any way. Don't worry. That's how every fucking person with a brain thought. And then after another losing season in which they trade a bunch more guys, David Quinn's gone. Let's look at the Sharks under Quinn. 2 seasons there, obviously both underwhelming, 60 points or fewer in each season. But
the 47 points this year is the second lowest in the salary cap era.
I mean, they started a little poorly. Took them a while to get going.
Sure did. Famously lost the first 11 games of the season.
But look at the guys that they've traded. Erik Karlsson, Tomas Hertl, Timo Meier, Anthony Duclair, Aiden Hill, which is kind of a cheap one because Aiden Hill wasn't Aiden Hill when they traded him. But this team has only been subtracting off what was already a very bad roster. He was supposed to be there for when they begin to turn it around and they add players. And next year, maybe, do they have Will Smith next year?
No, he's going back to BC.
He's going back to BC?
Yeah.
All right, so maybe that's what it was. They were like, you know what? It's going to be a fucking while. Let's just get a new guy. But I hate it. I think that it is so unfair to David Quinn, who has now been through 2 tenures with teams where they told him, look, we're going to sell. We're not expected to make a run this year. Let's try to get to this point. He's gotten them to that point, and they've been like, yeah, but we're still bad, which was supposed to be the plan. You're gone. I feel that David Quinn has now gotten the short end of the stick twice.
Yeah, I feel like it's unfair on the surface. I always feel this way when somebody is fired in the middle of a rebuild because what do you expect him to make when you give him garbage ingredients? And I think anybody looks at that Sharks roster and says, It's a bad team, and I don't like firing a guy before he has like a real shot to have an impact and to coach up a team and have a real puncher's chance. But that being said, like neither one of us know what's going on behind closed doors in San Jose. Obviously, team not successful. Maybe they don't like some of the habits that they saw. Maybe they don't like the details that are going on there. That stuff, if whatever you saw this year or over the past 2 years made you lose some faith in Quinn being the guy to lead the rebuild forward, or maybe they're just like really they have a lot of interest in a open market right now for coaching, because basically half the league's coaches have been fired. So there are a lot of guys that could use a new job, and maybe they just like the intrigue of getting somebody better than David Quinn.
Okay, we speculated that maybe Craig Berube wouldn't have been interested in Buffalo. Is Craig Berube going to be interested in San Jose? That is the least appetizing job in the world. A, because the roster has absolutely nothing and fucking sucks. And B, because now it's like in the NFL, being a black coach going to the Houston Texans, where it's like, if it doesn't go amazing, they're getting rid of you right away. There's not a lot of loyalty there.
It's also the Tomas Hertl trade basically established their timeline, which is that they're not looking to compete, or they don't think that they're going to be seriously competing in like the next 5 years.
They're not going to be able to throw everything at their roster.
You're exactly, because you can't have a fully maximized roster when you're retaining on Karlsson. Did they retain on Karlsson? I think they may have like retained a little bit of money, but not much.
That was it was a 3-team trade. I don't know if they retained or.
But I mean, either way, they're retaining a ton on Hertl for like the next 5 years. So that rebuild is going to take a while. But like maybe I don't think Berube would have a lot of interest there. Like Berube kind of has his pick of the litter, I would imagine. And we talked about it this week. New Jersey is probably the most appealing destination that's out there right now. Sharks are very far back on that list. And I don't know, like, did they go with a young coach, or did they go with a more veteran coach that gives them the leadership and the details and the culture that they might be looking for, that they didn't get with David Quinn?
1.5 Karlsson was retained. Interestingly, Casey DeSmith was a part of that trade as well.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
He
now.
went to the Canadians in that trade.
1.5 retained isn't bad, but like on top of what you're retaining for Hertl, like they have a ton of dead cap in the years ahead.
I'm confused. I thought that you could only retain 2 spots.
3.
Oh, it is 3.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the Sharks this year are at 3. They're at 3 next year, and then I mean the Hertl thing's fine. It's really the next 3 years will stink, because they'll be retaining about $3 million between Erik Karlsson and Tomas Hertl. But starting in 2027, which maybe is the soonest they're going to be any good, it's only 1.3, and the cap should have gone up. But anyway, now I am left to say, where the fuck do I want Celebrini to go? I thought we were going to have a big old BU party, and it was going to be Mike Greer, it was going to be David Quinn, it was going to be Macklin Celebrini, and then we just fudge the numbers with Will Smith and pretend he went to BU a couple years down the road, and it's going to be an absolute party there. Now where do I want Celebrini to go? I don't think that he's
Columbus.
Yeah, Columbus, maybe fine. Chicago, I think.
They're going to rig it for Utah.
The Buffalo Sabres.
They're going to rig it for Utah. Utah's going to get Celebrini.
You know what? I actually will say I'll take the Sabres, because I don't think that Celebrini is a game-changing prospect.
I think he can be a game-changing prospect for a team like the Sabres. Like, I don't think he's going to take a team like the Sharks and turn them into a playoff contender, but I think he could be very important to a team like the Sabres.
Okay, well, we're going to monitor that, and that's all good and fine. Is it good and fine for the Dallas Stars? Because, Pete, they're in fucking trouble. They lost 3-1 to the Knights in Game 2. They have dropped the first 2 games of this series.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not ideal to lose the first 2 games on at home and then have to go to Vegas against the reigning Stanley Cup champions, who look pretty good and only getting stronger maybe through the first round of the playoffs. I'm not counting out the Stars. I think that they've got a good enough team, and it's not like they're playing great hockey and are losing to a better team. The Stars just haven't haven't really hit their stride. And maybe that's because Vegas is so good defensively. The Stars put on a real nice push at the end of last night's game, and Vegas's defensive work in clogging up the lanes, blocking passes, just really, really good. And I think if you're a Vegas Golden Knights fan, the biggest takeaway from last night was that Logan Thompson looked good. And that's encouraging after that first game, in which he looked terrible.
Yeah, I would say, honestly, if I am a betting man, which I am not for the NHL playoffs, I have
You're
one
a
Conn
DFSing
Smythe
man.
pick. What's that?
You're a DFSing man.
I'm a DFSing man, but I've made one pick for Conn Smythe, Stu Skinner, not looking amazing. He looked a little Stu Skinnery last night, which is fine. Still, I would say average. And I've only made one BET on the Stanley Cup winner, and that is the Nashville Predators.
Yeah.
I would say, though, that if I were a betting man, let me see where the Stars are right now. The Stars are plus 2,500 to win the Stanley Cup.
Take it.
If they come back in this, I do not think the series is over.
No, it's not over.
Absolutely don't think the series is over. That gives me intrigue. I'm not doing it. I'm not touching it. Not good behavior. Just not going to do it.
I think that I have faith in the Stars' offense coming alive in this series, which it hasn't yet. They didn't score an even strength goal. They got one goal last night from Jason Robertson. It was on the power play. Their offense hasn't gotten going yet, and that is one of the best offenses in the entire NHL. And yes, I know that the Vegas Golden Knights are a good defensive team, but they're a little banged up on the back end, and their goaltending still a question mark, even though Logan Thompson did look better in game 2. So I have faith that the Stars can erase this deficit. Series not over yet. Definitely not one of the ones that I look at like 2-0, like New York or Carolina, where I'm like, those series probably over. It's just a mismatch in teams. These are two really good teams. Huge credit for Vegas for going out on the road and getting the first two. Massive, especially for that team that's only going to get healthier and probably stronger as the series goes along. But Dallas, still believe in them. Still my Stanley Cup future. Series isn't over.
I just need to commend the Knights for doing the Knights thing, because this year, in doing what they do at the trade deadline, not just Hurdle, Noah Hannafin has been a godsend for that team. And obviously they've gotten better on the back end and healthier on the back end with Alex Pietrangelo coming back. But Noah Hannafin has been excellent this series so far. And he's obviously scored, assists, been the guy that he is, the all-around defenseman. Huge get for them. And I don't think this series is over. I think this could definitely be a road team wins the first 4. But if the Knights win this series, a big part of it is going to be that they just ended up being too fucking deep, even against the Stars.
Well, that's why I like Vegas and their approach in the front office is that they target the guys that they like and they go out and get them regardless of the cost, regardless of like the aggressiveness that it takes to go out and get them. And those guys are typically always fucking awesome for them. Not only do they identify the guys that they want, they identify the guys that they want based off of how good they think they can be for their team. And they're always fucking right. There's very few times where they've done that and been wrong. Tomas Tatar, probably one of those times. But very rarely do they misevaluate a guy in what he can be on that team. Hannafin has been awesome. Jack Eichel is a monster. Had a great game last night. That assist to Marchy was so fucking good on the 2-on-1, dragging the Jake Ottinger out of the crease, and then a nice little backhand pass. Chef's kiss. The player that Jack Eichel has become has just kind of amazing. Never envisioned him being the player that he is right now, which is like a well-rounded, quiet superstar.
Yeah, for sure. He's fucking awesome. And I like what you said
Sean.
about like they get guys that they know here, they'll be fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And Hannafin signed an 8-year extension with them.
Mm-hmm.
$7.35 million a year. He right now, we would be discussing maybe like Jake DeBrusk playing himself into a big free agency contract, and he's already signed that. The Knights don't have to worry about it. They're in very good shape. Don't think the series is over, but the Knights look very good right now. The Kings have drawn even with the Oilers. We streamed last night because the game went to overtime. Very exciting game. Oilers come back from down 2-0. Question we were asking yesterday was, what happens when the Kings take a lead in one of these games? Because game 1 was the Oilers got on the board, got on the power play a bunch, and just fucking steamrolled them, and we never really got a chance to see the Kings get going. This was a little more of a back-and-forth game, a game where the Kings were able to establish the 1-3-1, and the Oilers found their way back into the game. They got a fucking goal from Brett Kulik and fucking 2 goals from Dylan Holloway.
Crazy.
Insane. My one thing as an Oilers fan is if that's how you're getting your goals, you need to fucking win that game.
Right. Yeah. Like if you're getting
only one goal from like one of their guys.
If you're getting off the board goals, well, I mean, like I guess if that's the case, like if you're getting off the board goals, it's probably bad news for the Oilers.
What do you mean?
Like if you're the Oilers, I think that you do want to lean on your stars. Like you want the stars to be the reason that you're winning games.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if Brett Kulak scores and Dylan Holloway, who is just drawing into the lineup, scores twice, you're saying, well, then how many did McDavid score?
Right.
If these guys are doing that, God, how many fucking hats are on the ice for Zach Hyman right now? So I would have liked if other things got going for the Oilers. I will give the Kings credit. They got fucking bodied on the PK in game 1. They took 4 penalties and allowed 3 power play goals. Took 3 penalties last night, limited them to just that one Zach Hyman goal, which was from deep. Very far away.
From the dot. From 3. Bingo cards. Check them off.
I tweeted Zach Hyman basically, and it was a picture of Caitlin Clark and Steph Curry. And as soon as I sent it, I was like, not a single Oilers fan knows who these people are.
That's not true. Like Caitlin Clark has become...
Do you think Caitlin Clark is big in Edmonton?
And everybody knows who Steph Curry is and what Steph Curry does.
Sean,
what's the temperature on Caitlin Clark in Edmonton?
Yeah, that's something I wonder a lot. Excuse me. Just kind of how, like, outside of hockey, North American sports do not go west of Toronto. So I always wonder how they feel about sports, especially women's basketball.
My question for you, though, on last night's game is it seemed like it was a little bit more wide open in game 2 than game 1. And normally my brain would fix to think that benefits the Edmonton Oilers. It didn't, like, because when you open up the game that much, you're relying on the Edmonton Oilers defensemen keeping it in check. And they weren't as good defensively in game 2 as they were in game 1.
I mean, you just look at the last goal of the game.
Right.
The overtime.
Kopitar right down the middle.
Darnell Nurse, flat-footed. Here's the thing you don't want to be as a defenseman. 2 things you don't want to be as a defenseman. This is going to be mean. 1, you don't want to be flat-footed. And 2, you don't want to be Darnell Nurse. Fucking
That's so
God.
mean.
I know. But it's so, like, that's kind of where I am right now as an Oil man. And I'm not going to say that the Oilers will go as far as Darnell Nurse will take them, but Darnell Nurse needs to be a top 4 defenseman. And he's not that right now. He's been fighting it. He's been going through it. Look at my hands. They shaking right now. I'm not nervous as an Oilers fan. I still think
wouldn't be.
The Oilers are good in this series.
We got a super chat from resident Kings fan saying sorry for your loss.
Thank you,
101.
Our resident.
Sorry for your loss. 101. Thank you very much.
101. Yeah, so that was just kind of my big takeaway from last night is like, damn, this game opened up. The Oilers were getting through the neutral zone a lot cleaner and with speed, and they still ended up losing that game, which is surprising to me. But maybe that's kind of the takeaway if you're Edmonton. It's like if we slow down, we have a better chance.
No, yesterday was more of just a fucking real game. I feel like you can't base anything on game 1 because if the Oilers get a big lead, even if they fuck around and Cody Cece's stick is blowing up, which, by the way, Cody Cece, you are very fucking lucky that Dylan Holloway scored like 5 seconds after you missed an open net because you were getting the Seinfeld clip so hard, my buddy. I was loading why under Elon does the video clips load so much slower? Do you notice this?
Because the website sucks.
It's a trash website. The Seinfeld clip was loading. And then I had to replace it with, I think, Gene and Daniel playing.
That was an incredible video.
There's a video that Gene's just doing commercials where he's dancing.
Yeah, how do we not have that as a thing ready for the show today?
He's fucking incredible, but
no free ads. But we'll give you a free ad if you put Gene Principe in your ad.
Anyway, I still feel mostly good about the Oilers. Stu Skinner was again more human last night, which I don't love. Bob Stauffer went after him a little bit after the game last night.
Did he really? What did he say?
You needed a good performance out of, or you needed a better performance out of the goalie, which I agree with. I don't think that Stu Skinner cost them, but I'm also just not worried about Stu Skinner. And until the Eastern Conference Final, the Western Conference Final, I'm just not worried about the Oilers. This sounds so stupid to fucking say because I've been through this time and time again, and these series do go long. I'm just not worried about them. Sean, do you have the end of the stream last night? We streamed. We go to overtime. We do overtime streams whenever a game goes to overtime. And as soon as the game ends, the stream ends. We haven't done our end screen yet, but we're working on it. It will be done for tonight in case the game goes to overtime. This was us watching the end of this game.
Push it. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, there it is.
What I fucking told you.
There it is.
Okay. That was really good.
So we need a harsher cut when we're working on it for the end of the streams, but it is the hard cut right as we find out that there's a goal is very funny and definitely going to keep that.
Now, the very eloquent "what I fucking told you" came from Pete. Suggested instead of Butchie overtime challenge. We'll have to come up with a name for this, but who cares who fucking scores? When does the game end?
Yeah, how many minutes does it take for the overtime winner to get scored? I guess 13. You guess 3.
I said it is scored in the 3rd minute of overtime,
You
which
said there's going to be a 17 on the clock when the final goal is scored, and wouldn't you fucking know it? 17th minute,
or
whatever.
something?
2 overtimes so far, and both have ended with 17 on the clock.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
the first one ended with 17:01 remaining in overtime.
I saw the pass to who was it? Or was it Kopitar? I saw the pass to Kopitar. Looked at the clock.
Yeah,
saw
that was
17,
my push it.
Saw 17. What's that?
I said push it because
Yeah.
saw Kopitar getting behind the defense.
Oh, yeah. So as soon as he got that pass, I looked. I saw that we're in the 3rd minute. It was-
Yep,
Yep,
there it
here
is.
it fucking goes.
I'm gonna have to work on my poker face because, as I pointed out to you, and if you go back and watch it, my stream is ahead, and I was fighting off a smile because I knew what was happening. I was just waiting.
You
for
were
you guys
fighting
to
off a
catch
smile
up.
because you could go to bed.
Well,
No,
no,
good behavior, by the way. You're supposed to be an oil man for this series.
no, I was not. I was fighting off just the fact that like I knew it was coming, so I was getting ready for the hard out, and so I was laughing at the idea that like because I knew it was going to be funny, but it was also kind of giving away what was about to happen.
Yeah. Well, it was a good stream. It was still fun. And again, you are getting black soon as that shit ends now.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Well,
getting
not black. You're gonna get a nice little
End
your
screen,
your
but-
event has ended.
yes, but it's black.
Is it?
Yeah. It's not all black,
Okay.
but it's like to emphasize how fucking done it is. I felt it should be black background, white text. Like it still has a scroll. I won't give away the whole thing, but still has a scroll and everything. But it's just it should grab you that like, okay, we the viewer, in like The Sopranos, like maybe we were whacked here. This is over.
The first time when we get that and it happens after like 4 overtime periods is gonna hit. It's gonna be like 13 minutes into the 4th overtime, and all of a sudden the goal is gonna score and just hard out.
Here's a question. 2 of us live close enough to get here.
I don't live close enough to get here.
You're like, don't even think about it. I'm not doing it.
I realistically do not live close enough to get here in between a game ending. And
Neither do I. Like you got 20 minutes.
I do.
Yeah. Also, like most of the time when games go into overtime, I'm in no condition to get in the car and operate a motor vehicle.
Why?
Drugs.
Oh, word?
Word.
Pete drinks scissorp.
It's the only way to get through these games, man.
What if the show had to end, and this isn't to make light of anybody who deals with addiction, but what if the show had to end because Pete developed such a lean problem during the Stanley Cup playoffs?
A lot of people wouldn't have that on their bingo cards.
Also, watching hockey on lean, crazy behavior.
I would throw up.
I can't say I've ever partaken. I don't know what that
Anything
experience would be like.
Is more taxing on my stomach during playoff hockey sounds horrible. I forgot to eat last night.
But isn't Lil Wayne's a big hockey fan? And is it like Lil Wayne's a big lean guy, right?
I don't know.
I mean, I know for sure he's
I
a
think he
big
just
lean
more
guy, or
glorifies it
was a
than-
big lean guy.
Yeah, I feel like over the last few years, lean has kind of not it's kind of taken a little bit of an image hit in in hip hop. I feel like drugs in general have started to take a little bit of an image hit, especially after Juice WRLD died. There's a lot of people being like, I'm not fucking with that.
Let's ask the question: are drugs bad?
Drugs depends on the drug.
That's such a Sean libertarian.
Depends on who
he's
you
right
ask.
though. It does depend on the
Fucking
drug.
marijuana shouldn't be a section 1 drug.
Everybody be safe. Use. I was very proud of. I was out with some friends one time, and I don't do any drugs or anything. But someone was like, "Hey, want to go do drugs?" And my friend was like, "Do you have fucking test strips or whatever to like test if they're safe and everything?" And I was like, "You are a very responsible drug user."
That's an adult drug
That's
user.
the kind of
Yeah, if you're gonna do drugs, be an adult about it.
Be safe. Sean's like that guy's a.
If you're adults enough to be checking your drugs, don't do drugs.
No, that's not true.
What?
Marijuana is not a drug.
No, but like if you want to do drugs, do drugs. Do drugs safely.
Yeah,
and
just
do responsible. Be responsible at
anything you
it.
do safely for yourself and everybody else.
I am going to be the one that's going to be on the internet and saying, don't do drugs. Do not do cocaine. Not a good thing to do.
So personally, I feel that same way.
I've
and
never
I feel
done
bad
cocaine.
because when like I'm sure we all know people who have fucking died, and you see that and you're like, God, I fucking wish they weren't doing cocaine. Like in like today, I wish that in 2024, 2023, whenever, and obviously we're not these people. We don't know their lives. We don't know their experience. We don't know their dependencies. But like, fuck, in a perfect world, knowing what we know and how unsafe it is right now, I really fucking wish nobody was touching that shit.
Yeah. But fucking smoke all the weed you want and do as many mushrooms and acid and psychedelics as you want.
I'm a big fan of just like make the decisions you want to make, but if you're making some potentially dangerous decisions, be as safe as you possibly can.
Yeah, I would agree generally until it starts like affecting other people, which doing drugs most certainly can. So
Certainly can.
Can I tell you something that I think is very safe? The Chicago Blackhawks have extended friend of the show, Alex Vlasic, which it's funny that he's a friend of the show. We've sat down with Alex Vlasic, hung out with him, made content with him that is just kind of a lost episode for some technical reasons. But he has signed a 6-year extension with an AAV of $4.6 million. Dream contract. 22 years old, only going to get better. Top pair-ish guy right now, and I think that he can grow into being a real top pairing guy. Possibly could be their best defenseman when all is said and done.
Yeah, I don't think we fully know who he is right now, but this is a real has a lot of potential to be one of the best contracts in the league.
Can't hurt him, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, well, it definitely can, but the bottom would have to fall out and he'd have to become like a useless player. And I don't see that happening. Like Alex Vlasic has looked really good. I like that deal. I like the calculated risk and gamble that they're taking on who they've seen from Alex Vlasic.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Last two quick things we should do. Coyotes have arrived in Utah, and it's kind of weird. It's bittersweet. We're now sort of, I feel, turning the page, going from, no, please, this shouldn't happen, to, okay, well, we as hockey fans, and Sean, I think you're for sure given the option, if you want to elect not to, see some optimism in, okay, so what are they doing here? How are they going to make this work? How do the fans like it? How are they being received? How will all the pieces fit? And for now, it seems that the players are putting on brave faces. They went to a sold-out event for a bunch of Utah hockey fans, and this is fucking happening, man. And you got players joking around, introducing themselves. Do we have any of the video of them hopping off the plane or anything, shaking hands, kissing babies? There they are.
What a bit of scenery there too.
It's a whole new world, boys. It's a whole new world.
This has got to feel really good if you're one of the Coyotes players, one of the Coyotes staffers. Like, you've had a hell of a 2 weeks, and now you're starting to see like what you're getting into, and like you said, turning the page on what was a very depressing chapter. And it's got to be really, really intimidating and anxiety inducing to have to move to a new city. But to see the excitement like this, and I thought Utah did an awesome job. Like, this is a great way to start to drum up some excitement and to start like proving like we are for real about having this team. We are for real about coming out and supporting them. And I just thought this was a really, really cool first chapter for the team immediately upon landing in Utah.
Sean, obviously it's bittersweet for you, but how do you feel about this?
It's cool. I mean, I just like this would happen if they moved to Arizona. Like if Arizona had announced, and I not right now, obviously, but like if a new team showed up to Arizona, like they would get this. So I definitely don't want it to be represented like, oh, finally I have fucking fans, because that's not the situation at all.
No,
I mean it is
that any criticism that we've ever had of the Coyotes, I don't think has ever been directed at fans.
No, I agree, and I at least not when you're being serious.
No, yeah.
Directed at you.
Yeah, like early on there was jokes being made, but yeah, no. I mean, I think removed from it a little bit, like definitely got to be happy for the people in Utah. Like it's got to be a pretty awesome feeling to have a hockey team. You go from being a one sport team to a two sport team or state city. So that's cool. Fans seem interested. The players seem happy. I don't know. It is what it is. I would rather there be a team in Arizona than a team in Salt Lake, but I think I pointed out to one of you the other day. I saw an Athletic article that was headlined like introducing like the roster. Like, are they going to be able to have a good team in Utah? It's like we know what the team is. This is not an expansion franchise.
They're going to be active this summer though. Like that team is going to look different.
Oh yeah, I mean you have to be. You have an owner that really is like clearly trying to make a splash.
Yeah.
Like they're going to. It's going to be. I am very interested to see what free agency is going to be like. Especially because I could see them kind of competing for some of the same players the Buffalo Sabres would want. So it'll be interesting to watch. I love new stuff. So as I'm getting further removed from the team getting ripped from Arizona, like I am just starting to get excited about new jerseys, new brandings, new scene, like even like new B-roll. Like you're gonna go to the game, it's gonna be national televised games, and you get nice shots of the mountains. Said it before, like as much as I hate Utah. It's not
beautiful.
Salt Lake, but Park City, Utah, I think is the most beautiful city in America. It's one of my favorite places I've ever been. There's a lot of cool stuff in Utah. And Utah Jazz games, like I looked this up at one point because I wanted to make a point that I couldn't make. This is why you need to do your own research. Like I was very interested to see how NBA players thought of Utah as a city, because that's really the only comparison you can make. And they did polls on like the worst places to play and the best places to play, and Utah was at the top of both of those lists. So
really?
They have very good fans, and it's one of those places where I think it's going to be enjoyable to play, and you're not going to enjoy going to play there.
I'm not worried about that organization, right? Like I'm not worried about the fans. I'm not worried about the ownership. No. I think Ryan Smith, I listened to him on 32 Thoughts. He seems like he's pretty well adjusted. Yeah, seems like there's a reason why the league wanted him to be an owner very badly. I think that's exciting. What doesn't excite me, though, is the direction in which we are being pointed for the team's branding, because there's a list of names that have been filed for trademarks, and that list includes the Utah Mammoth, the Utah Yetis, Utah Blizzard, Utah Hockey Club, Utah Venom, Utah Outlaws, Utah Ice, and Utah Fury. And I know that we've had this conversation. It is very, very difficult to judge a team name without the branding that is attached to it. None of these really excite me.
I think that Hockey Club might be the best one.
That's what I said yesterday.
But is that like do you want that as a permanent or as a placeholder?
I think I could.
Don't do a placeholder.
I feel like they're gonna like have to do.
They have to do a placeholder, unless it is just the Utah Hockey Club. You're gonna have to do a placeholder. There's no like. I think it would be malpractice to try and rush branding this fast.
Oh no! See, I think that if you can make Utah Hockey Club work, and people could just call you Utah.
I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's the only way you can come out with like I think you can do Hockey Club as a placeholder, but you can also you could full launch Hockey Club as a permanent name. Because I said yesterday, I think like part of the thing with Utah, like the one reason people are shitting on Utah, and also getting back to the conversation about why this might not work, they don't have an arena for sure yet. Like they're going to need to build an arena, and I don't know that it's not going to work. I'm just saying they do need to cross that hurdle. But like Utah is constantly get shit on for being boring, not having personality. Fucking make that your brand.
So that was going to be my argument as why you can't go Utah Hockey Club,
Which is
because they have the reputation of being so bland and being boring and not having a lot of personality. To go with Utah Hockey Club would just feed that narrative, but you could also spin it as being, well, they're leaning into that sort of bit and they're embracing their identity or their lack of identity.
And there's, depending on how many North American sports leagues you follow, there is major FC fatigue in Major League Soccer right now.
Man, that's one of my...
Every team that comes along is
Hills.
FC. And the New England Revolution recently rebranded, and they focus group the hell out of everything. And the big thing that they got was keep the name Revolution. Do not make your team FC. So a big part of their rollout was like, hey, everyone, we have an announcement. We've rebranded, and it doesn't involve us being FC. And everyone's like, fucking coolest thing a soccer team has done.
Well, that for soccer, it's just following the lead of like the big brothers, and it's trying to make yourself seem like more serious. And that's the biggest little brother behavior that you can.
But the other side of that coin is that this is not an occurrence or problem in hockey.
Yes.
There's only one
with the new teams.
There's only one team that does hockey club, and I like you doing this because it would piss off that team. If we called Utah club to hockey, that would
I didn't even think about that.
Oh yeah, Canadians fans would be like, "Oh, actually, that's our thing."
I didn't even think about that. That's funny. I just like. And it also depends on how you do it, because I think you could do the Utah Hockey Club. This is something that we talked a little bit about with the Hurricanes. Is like if you make it, you can make it very like collegiate feeling and it being fun. Like if they had like an old collegiate style logo and they kept it very simple, like it said Utah on the thing, and they didn't really have like a logo. I think there's ways that it can work. It really is just dependent on the role, and that's why it's hard for me to react to any of these names, because like 80% of the NHL has boring names. And B, like we talked about it with the Kraken specifically, like Kraken did not do it for me until I saw their branding, and it immediately did it for me. Vegas Golden Knights suck. That's boring, and it's boring branding, but it's Vegas, so it works. Like it really just depends on the context and how it gets done.
I of the list that currently exists, I think Yetis excites me the most from a branding potential. And I know we've gone over it, but like the only downside for that would be taking away the Yeti foot from the Colorado Avalanche. But they're not fucking using it, so you don't use it, you lose it. That's my stance on it. What about like the idea of doing? I was upset that they're going Utah instead of Salt Lake, whatever.
Join the club.
What if they did Utah Salt Lakes?
That's bad.
You think that's bad?
I don't like how that sounds at all.
I still like
Utah
you asked the
Salt
question.
Lakes? I don't know. I understand why they're going Utah, because you have a whole state that's not just Salt Lake City. There's no, like, people in Salt Lake are going to root for the team regardless. There's no reason to limit yourself. It's exactly what the Coyotes did. Salt Lake, I feel like you got to be funnier about it. Like, you got to, like, if they did the Salt Lakers, that sounds like a joke. And as long as you're leaning into being funny, then, like, it could work. But if you're, like, seriously being, like, the Salt Lakers, I don't really, like, or
And
the
if you're
Salt
going
Lakes.
to do shit like that, like, I feel like the Slopes is a better name.
Yeah, like, if you're going to be literal,
we're not finding great options, but they're not finding great options. Respect us for trying.
Utah Mammoth is terrible. That's terrible.
I don't think so necessarily. The only problem I have with it is that it's the Colorado Mammoth exists. It's a lacrosse team. And you're already like in that area of the country.
I think that they should go dinosaur related.
Well, that's something I've seen plenty of people bring up. Utah Raptor is a kind of dinosaur.
Yeah, like the Utah Raptors would go.
And I think that would go very hard. Like,
is that our vote?
Utah Raptors?
I'm ready to send that.
Unfortunately, I feel like we're
best
past
of a
that
bad
point.
bunch.
And like the biggest thing I know that there's a Raptors team that already exists, but like the Raptors not embracing the dinosaur aspect of being the Raptors. I know they dip their toe in it.
Not as much as they should.
Not as much as they should. If Utah named themselves the Raptors and went full in on being like, we're the fucking dinosaurs.
My only problem is like, I feel like
dinosaurs cool as
it's
shit.
2024. It's just, I don't like the idea of not doing something original. Like the Ice is a hockey team already. Like Venom isn't a team, but that just sucks.
That
That's
sucks
by
so
far the
bad.
worst name. The last,
So bad.
I at no point, like if you tell me, think of states that you associate with Venom or snakes, they're not top 5. Tell me that right
how
now.
about where they just were? That would that would be more salt on the wound.
They came from a city with a team named after snakes, and you're gonna be snakes. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah,
it all just depends on the colors and the logos.
Someone in the chat says, "I agree." Utah Raptors, it is.
Utah Raptors.
What do we think the colors? What do we think the color scheme is going to be?
I want it to be some combination of blue and purple.
I want
I think
purple.
that's what it is. I think they're going to do baby blue and purple.
Yeah, go old Jazz colors. It's kind of when like the Nordiques, when they were going to rebrand before they moved to Colorado, they had the purple and blue. I think it just is
I think they're going to do baby blue and purple.
How do you feel about us hanging their stuff in here? Because you were just doing the Tim Robinson. I like new stuff.
Oh,
don't come here unless you like new stuff.
I want to go to Utah next year. Like I'm all in on Utah, and I think once the season starts, it's going to be pretty hard watching Clayton Keller specifically. Like in another, like it's going to be hard watching those specific players. But especially as the off season goes on, the roster changes a little bit. Like I'll be in on Utah unless they choose Venom, and then they're my least favorite team in hockey. Like if they completely fuck up this branding, then I'm gonna hate them. Like if you're gonna take my team, one of my teams, at least do it right.
Should we go to the first Utah game? I really want to now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Utah is one of the most beautiful places.
I mean, it's going to be expensive, but let's do it.
All right, super chat us, please, or do something. We have an episode tomorrow, by the way. Speaking of doing more, we have our first Friday episode will be tomorrow, so that's going to be very exciting. Last order of business before we get to a slate grade, and this has been a lengthy episode, but you know what? It's been a very good one. Patrick Kane has thanked Detroit Red Wings fans, tweeting, "Thank you, Red Wings, my teammates, coaches, and all the fans of Hockeytown for welcoming me and my family with open arms this season. This past year gave us memories we'll never forget. The work doesn't stop. Hashtag LGRW." I believe that is a sex thing that the kids
100%.
are doing on Urban Dictionary.
Girth right wing.
It's right. The R represents R, that like it's right hanging.
And then he's got
you can make up what the W stands for.
And then he's got the thing on Paul McCartney's guitar there, so I think that he's just a Wings fan. But anyway, how do you read this? Because I saw a lot of people, and we know that yesterday was a bad day for hockey Twitter trying to interpret things. What do you take from that? Do you take that as not a retirement, but do you take it as a possible
retirement at all?
But definitely not, especially when he's saying the work, blah, blah, blah. Do you take that as a possible goodbye to the Red Wings?
Possibly, but it seems like it's very possible that it's not as well. Like that's a big nothing burger to me.
Totally agree. I'm not worried if I'm a Red Wings fan.
I disagree that it's a nothing burger. I think if he's tweeting this and does not plan on going back to the Red Wings, it's absolutely insane behavior.
No.
Saying the work doesn't stop and then tagging putting the Red Wings hashtag in it.
He didn't say our work doesn't stop. He said the work, which means that's his work could be wherever it brings him.
And
then you got to say that in a different way.
I think that you put the hashtag at the end because this was largely about him thanking Red Wings fans. If he did, "Thank you, Red Wings, my teammates, coaches, blah, blah, for its memory, we'll never forget," hashtag LGRW, and then did "the work doesn't stop," that means bye, boy. That means he's fucking leaving. I think that he just put that at the end because that's a nice place to put a hashtag.
Well, yeah. I my problem is more with the work doesn't stop in combination with that hashtag. If he had not done the work doesn't stop and just did the hashtag LGRW, then he's as good as retired in my mind. Or
he's not retired,
but off the Red Wings.
35 years old, 47 points in 50 games last year for the Red Wings, 20 goals, 27 assists. Still had a lot of theatrics. Got to see those vintage Patrick Kane moments. He still has it after the surgery. He still fucking got it. I'd like him to go back to Detroit.
Yeah, same here.
Because Detroit this year, I landed on go away, but come back and see me next year kind of thing. I want them to be relevant next year, and I'd like him to still be playing on a competitive team. I think it's a good fit for both sides.
You know who he grew up watching?
Utah.
Lindy Ruff and the Buffalo Sabres.
He sure did.
Just saying.
Well, as long as they don't have any taxi cabs.
Taxi drivers.
There. I mean, I'd be a little worried. Hey, let's get to a slate grade presented by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHAOS for $20 off your first purchase. We have but 2 games this evening. 7 p.m. U.S. Panthers at Lightning. Game 3. Florida leads that 2-0. 7:30 p.m. U.S. Hurricanes at Islanders. Game 3. Carolina has won that series 2-0. But we've got, and this doesn't count, or does it for bingo purposes? A goalie being chased? That's got to be in game.
It's got to be in game.
Got to be in game. But the Islanders are going with Ilya Sorokin. How about that? They've gone to Ilya Sorokin.
That ought to fix it.
I think so. I don't think so. I think that series is over.
That ought to do it.
I think
That'll
that series
do it.
is over.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I'd say that'll do it. Sean, did you get what I was saying with the I love old stuff. Don't come to this unless you like old stuff.
I missed it in the moment, but I realized afterwards. Yeah,
that's a great. You know that one, Pete?
No.
He does the silent show, and his whole thing is like, and I never talk. And if he does talk, he gives you $1, and the show starts, and the audience is just like, what are you doing? Tell us what you're doing. And he's like sweeping, and he's like, just wait. And then he has to give him $1. And the whole ad is like, don't try to make me talk. This is about like old stuff. Come to this. A- for this grade, I would say.
A-, and bigger question, is it loser behavior on the NHL's part to be scared of the NFL draft?
Yes, and it's correct loser behavior.
Yes,
I was going to say,
true.
I don't know if it's...
It is.
I'm watching the draft right,
It's
baby.
loser behavior, and it's very smart.
It's like being afraid of a wild animal. It's the NFL. You do not fuck with that beast.
Shout out the chat. When I said I love old stuff, they started saying, what is that? What are you doing? Amazing. We love it all, and we love you. What a great episode. I'm enjoying these playoff ones.
Well, that's good because we got another one tomorrow.
We got more tomorrow. We will join you at 12 p.m. ET. Remember, our Friday episodes are at 12. It's just our Wednesday episodes that are at 11:59.
That's right. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Be sure to drop us a show grade after we go unlive. We unalive this stream. Please go to the YouTube page and give us a comment. And grade the show. A or A-.
Hashtag anyone but JJ.
Hashtag Bye. Let's go Girthmaster.
We all silly like the mayor.